How you doing, Hammy? Oh, well, thank you. Oh, thank you. What we're gonna do today, huh? We're gonna teach? Oh, got the head tilt. Oh my goodness, you're gonna go upside down. In today's video, we're gonna go over some simple German Shepherd training things you can do starting on day one with your new puppy. If you don't have a puppy and you've rescued, that's fine, you can do these too. My name's Will, this is Enzo. Lotus. You ready to get started on this video? Yep, say roll the intro. All right, as I mentioned, you can do this with a puppy or a rescue. I'm gonna reference puppies, but a couple of disclaimers. One, I'm not a trainer. This is just stuff that we've done and we've learned from having these two. And the stuff in this video doesn't require formal training. This is really just stuff you could do to make life easier, to make life safer. This isn't like tricks or having them heal or anything like that. So if you've watched our videos and you've seen how they are, a lot of the stuff they can do as far as off leash, that's not what this is about. This is more about building blocks and just, like I said, day one type of stuff. So the first thing is consistency. Now this is a mindset that is honestly more about you than them. Consistency is the number one most important thing. Dogs can't really understand why you may not do something one time and do it another. That's why you have to be consistent. So anytime we go somewhere in the FJ, before they get out, they have to sit and they have to make eye contact before I let them out. Even if we're at home where it's safe and I know there's no danger at all, I could just open and let them out. I still make them sit and make that eye contact no matter what. Think about it differently. Think about if you were telling a kid that before you were gonna let them out of the back seat, they had to make eye contact with you. But then you got home and you just opened the door and let them out and they'd be like, well, how come I didn't have to do it this time? Oh, because we're at home and it's safe now. I don't have to worry about anything. And they'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You can't explain that to a dog. So you have to do it every time, no matter what it is that you're doing. You know, whether it's going out the door and you want to be first. So then every time you make them sit. Every time before I let them off the leash, every time I let them out of the crate, I make them sit and look at me. It's always the same stuff. It's always consistent in everything so that that pattern is expected. There never is a discrepancy or a reason that they have to be confused. And that's the real problem, is that if you're not consistent, they get confused. They don't understand why you did it one time and not the other. So then they're gonna be frustrated and they're not gonna understand. The second thing, and I've already kind of talked about this a little bit, is eye contact. Now, I did not do these things necessarily with Enzo. I didn't know any better, but things that I did do with Lotus is before he was ever allowed out of his crate, he had to sit and had to make eye contact. Now keep in mind, if you're starting this day one, you bring them home, they're 8, 9 weeks old, 10 weeks old, you have to have proper expectations. If I go to let Lotus out of his crate right now, it's going to be sit, look up, make a good solid eye contact, and I'm gonna let him out. So when he was 10, 11 weeks old, it was literally, if he just looked for just a split second, I would unlock the crate, but I would have my foot on it, my hand on it, so he couldn't open it. The second he looked up, I could swing the door up real quick and go, oh, good boy, and give him lots of praise and everything. And then as he got older, it was longer and longer that I'd make him make that eye contact. There's a lot of reasons why having them make eye contact is good, but really the biggest one is just they look to you for guidance. They look to you for assurance, for approval, anything. To this day, if we're out and Lotus sees a deer and he wants to go chase it, he will stop and look at me and make eye contact and see if I say it's okay. And if I go, all right, go on, he'll take off running. But if I don't, then he knows, okay, it's not okay. Did you just see him? All right, go on. All right, the third thing is having them sit to help maintain control. Puppies especially gonna get excited. And again, you gotta have proper expectations for this. If they're doing a behavior that you don't want or you need them to calm down for a second, a good example of this is when we got Lotus, he would go nuts when I would start getting his food out. He'd wanna jump up on the bench, just going crazy. It was ridiculous. You couldn't even get the food out. What I started doing, when I'm scooping the food out, it makes a good amount of noise. He can hear that, he's getting all excited. Is when he was jumping all about and stuff, I would stop. And then as soon as he sat down, I would start scooping the food again. And then he'd get excited, I'd stop. So this went on and on until eventually he just stopped acting that way. He realized hey, I want this food. It's gonna come a lot quicker if I just sit here and wait patiently. Bless you. Similar things like I've mentioned with getting out of the car. You know, I always have them sit before they get out of the car. In fact, when they get out of the car, I also have them sit. I have them sit before they get out of their crate, sit before, like if we're gonna play fetch at the park, they get all worked up, Lotus especially, but even Enzo, and they'll wanna like kind of jump up, not jump on me, because they know not to do that, but they wanna like jump up and try to get it out of my hands and stuff like that. So I make them sit, and they know that, you know, until they sit and wait patiently, I'm not going to throw this first ball. Things like that, you know, behavior modifications essentially. Get down. Oh, don't you do that. I'm not afraid of you. Having a schedule. This is going to make their development better, and it's going to make your life a whole lot easier if you stick to a schedule. So that means, especially with food, stick within a 30-minute time frame if you can of when they eat. For us, it's fluctuated over time based on how our lives have changed, but a lot of times it's been 6 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. is when we feed them. Now, when they're puppies, they need more meals, so I like to give them, I would actually do, it was 6, 9, 12, 3, and 6, 5 meals a day. You definitely shouldn't be doing 1 meal, and you really shouldn't be doing 2. 3, 4, 5 meals is better. I generally stick to 4. Sometimes if we're busy and we're out and about and we miss one, you know, then we'll do 3 meals. It's not a big deal. But just like as a human, you should eat more frequently. Dogs, they should also eat smaller, more frequent meals. Not only does it help with digestion and just their overall health, but it also helps with anxiety, so they're never hungry. You know, as humans, we get hungry, but we know like, okay, well, I'm gonna eat later, or if I can pick up my phone and order some food or whatever. If it gets to a point that I need to eat, I can solve this issue. They don't necessarily understand that concept. They just know they're hungry. So it creates stress and anxiety. Am I gonna get to eat again, especially as a puppy? You know, am I gonna get to eat again? What's going on here? So ideally, you spread out the meals consistently. They know what to expect. They know, hey, at this time I'm gonna get fed. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have that stress or anxiety about it. It's gonna come. This is also gonna help you as far as like bathroom breaks and sleeping through the night, many things like that, that is gonna be key. And on a final note on that, we live in an area that observes daylight savings time, which is stupid, but whatever. Pups, they don't observe daylight savings time. So be fully prepared that if you normally take them out at 6 and the clocks fall back to 5, they're probably gonna get up a little early those first few days. So just kind of be prepared for that, or maybe start prepping in advance. All right, and the last thing is placing when they arrive home. Now, place is actually a command that they learn in training. So you're not gonna necessarily get to that level, especially with a puppy, but something you could start working on. You know, typically when you get home, they're gonna be all excited. They wanna get attention from you. They wanna jump up. The first time it might be cute. That gets old real quick. So one of the things that we do is we have their cots. You can use whatever, you know, if you have their bed or whatever, just have a designated spot that's always there that they know that you will give them attention. So how we started doing this is when we come in the door, they'd be all excited, obviously wanting to jump up. Well, actually they were in their crate, but we'd let them out of their crate and they'd be all excited and want to jump on us and everything. I would lead them straight to the cot, and as soon as they got on there, I'd start giving them all kinds of praise and pets and everything else. If they got off of it, I'd direct them back to it. As they got older, they learned that, you know, hey, if we go here, we get the attention that we want. And then when they would get off, I would stop. I didn't have to really direct them. They knew at that point. So then like they would get back on. To this day, when I come in the door, Enzo's all excited and he goes to his cot because he knows like, hey, that's where I'm gonna get the best attention. That's where I'm gonna get the most. Now he doesn't jump up or anything, so it's not as big of a deal, and it's something that we've kind of faded out, but he still does it, and it's fine. And if he does it, I will gladly go over there and give him some good belly rubs. If he doesn't though, it's not as big of a deal. That's the good thing about training, is that there's some things that are so important in the beginning, but then later on, maybe it's not as important, and that's okay. A good example of that is when we first learned to come, the way they learned it is they would come and they would sit next to us. Well, as time progressed, you know, and I'm having them out at the park and they're running around, and then I would tell them to come, they would have to come, and then I had to wait for them to sit, and it's like I really didn't need them to do that anymore. So what I started doing is modifying that to the point that they no longer do that. That's a more advanced thing that we can get into later. They went through off-leash canine for that type of training. If you don't have one of those, or if you want to do something online, we have partnered with Robert Cabral. So once they get to that 5.5 month age point, or if they're a rescue and they're already older than that, we have some links below that you can look into as far as doing some more detailed like actual training as far as like off leash type stuff. Otherwise, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I hope you guys got some usefulness out of it, some enjoyment. If you have any questions about your new puppy or new rescue, comment below. We'll be happy to answer them any way we can. We have a ton of videos on our channel. If you search, a lot of puppy videos, a lot of day one type videos and so forth. But if you don't see the answer that you're looking for, just comment below or DM us on Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one. Later.